Welcome back, students, to the final lesson in this series on fixing run-on sentences. And so, we're going to be looking at yet another way to fix a run-on sentence. We're going to fix them using subordinating conjunctions. But of course, we must do some review. We have learned so far in this series that you can fix a run-on sentence by using a full stop. Let's look at this run-on sentence and how it can be fixed by using a full stop. It was a beautiful evening, the sun was gently setting. Classic run-on sentence. Two independent clauses, not properly joined. It was a beautiful evening, the sun was gently setting. And that's an easy fix. And whenever you're in doubt about when to separate your run-on sentences, the full stop is often the best bet because it's the simplest one to remember. But if you want to challenge yourself some more, we can try another way. In addition to using full stops, we can use a coordinating conjunction to fix our run-on sentences. Let's look at this run-on sentence. I really wanted to go out, the rain spoiled my plans. Notice I couldn't even catch a breath there. There are two independent clauses in this run-on sentence that need to be joined properly. So, let's look at it. It was a beautiful evening, but the rain spoiled my plans. Maybe they had somewhere to go, and unfortunately, they couldn't go because of the rain. So here we have a run-on sentence that has been fixed with a coordinating conjunction, but. But today, now we have a third way of fixing a run-on sentence, and that is by using a subordinating conjunction. So, let's do a quick review on what a subordinating conjunction is. You learned about the coordinating conjunctions before. You remember them, right? Fanboys. But now we have the subordinating conjunctions. And what are they? They are simply conjunctions that join words, phrases, and dependent clauses. And here are some examples of subordinating conjunctions. So, we've talked about what a subordinate conjunction is and how a subordinate conjunction operates in a subordinate clause. And what is a subordinating clause? Think about it as a dependent clause, a clause that needs something else to make sense in a sentence. So let's look at this clause here. As Sandy began to sing the national anthem, that is definitely a dependent clause. What's happening after she sings? We don't know. So this particular clause needs something else to make it make sense. So let's look at the other sentence. As Sandy began to sing the national anthem, the audience joined her. This is a complete sentence. We have the dependent clause, as Sandy began to sing the national anthem, and then we have the rest of the sentence telling us what happened. So that is a dependent or subordinating clause. Let's talk a little bit about how we place our subordinating conjunctions and our subordinating clauses. The subordinate clause with the subordinate conjunction can be placed at the start of a sentence, or it can be placed at the end of a sentence. So let's get an example of when it starts. Whenever I eat oily food, I feel nauseous. Look at the subordinating conjunction whenever. It's at the beginning of the sentence. But you can have it also at the end. I feel nauseous whenever I eat oily food. So we're going to fix this comma splice by using a subordinating conjunction. I told the children I would read to them. They said they would sit by me to watch the pictures. Again, the comma is not strong enough there. So now we're going to fix this comma splice by using a subordinating conjunction. When I told the children I would read to them, they said they would sit by me to watch the pictures. So this is a little bit more complicated way of fixing a run-on sentence by using a subordinating conjunction, but it makes the sentence flow very nicely, don't you think? When I told the children I would read to them, they said they would sit by me to watch the pictures. And that gets a thumbs up from me. So, to summarize, a run-on sentence can be fixed by using a full stop, by using a coordinating conjunction, and also by using a subordinating conjunction. But you know, it doesn't make sense knowing what these things are unless we practice. So let's see if we can fix some more run-on sentences using the rules we have applied so far in these lessons. So let's look at this one. I quickly took the envelope from my bag and gave it to my parents. My parents opened it, they grinned with pride, my grades were excellent. Now look, I can't breathe because we don't know where does the sentence, where does it end? We don't know. We need to fix this run-on sentence and make it make sense by applying the rules. So let's read this run-on sentence from a student's piece of work. I quickly took the envelope from my bag and gave it to my parents. My parents opened it, they grinned with pride, my grades were excellent. I couldn't even breathe because we couldn't figure out where to end the different clauses in the sentence. So let's figure out, can we apply the rules and the fixes that we learned in previous lessons to this piece of writing? Let's look at it. Let's find an independent clause. I quickly took the envelope from my bag and gave it to my parents. I think a full stop needs to go right there. And of course, if you have a full stop, then we must, in this case, we're going to add a subordinating conjunction. When my parents opened it, they grinned with pride. But still, my grades are excellent. That's still running on there, so we need to fix that. How can we fix it? I think I need to put a full stop. So let's read what we have so far. I quickly took the envelope from my bag and gave it to my parents. When my parents opened it, they grinned with pride. And of course, if you have a full stop, the next word must begin with a capital letter. And so we have that, and we have yet another sentence here. My grades were excellent. So I quickly took the envelope from my bag and gave it to my parents. When my parents opened it, they grinned in pride. My grades were excellent. So we have revised a run-on sentence and made it much more easier for your reader to read. I'm going to read it one more time. I quickly took the envelope from my bag and gave it to my parents. When my parents opened it, they grinned with pride. My grades were excellent. And I hope your grades will be excellent after these lessons. This is a portion of a story that a student wrote. Sparkle and I decided to go on a hike to Maracas. That seems so good so far. And Betty and Uncle Earl offered to drive us to the trail. I borrowed Sparkle's hiking gear. We left for adventure. After only 10 minutes into the hike, I was as tired as a dog running from a wolf. Sparkle had to encourage me for the rest of the trip. As a reader, I'm very confused because there are too many run-on sentences in this piece of work. Can we help the student to fix these run-on sentences using what we've talked about in earlier lessons? Let's look at it again. We have a perfectly good sentence at the beginning. Sparkle and I decided to go on a hike to Maracas. Aunt Betty and Uncle Earl offered to drive us to the trail. That seems like a good place to put a full stop. And so we have our sentence. Let's follow. I borrowed Sparkle's hiking gear. We left for adventure. There's a problem there. Let's add a coordinating conjunction. I borrowed Sparkle's hiking gear and we left for our adventure. After only 10 minutes into the hike, I was as tired as a dog running from a wolf. I think a full stop needs to go there. And so, of course, if we put a full stop, then we have to capitalize the first letter of the next word. Sparkle had to encourage me for the rest of the trip. Oh, we've done some work here. Let's reread this paragraph and see if it flows more nicely. Sparkle and I decided to go on a hike to Maracas. Aunt Betty and Uncle Earl offered to drive us to the trail. I borrowed Sparkle's hiking gear and we left for our adventure. After only 10 minutes into the hike, I was as tired as a dog running from a wolf. Sparkle had to encourage me for the rest of the trip. Doesn't that sound much better? And I breathed more easily as well. And so we used many of our fixes to fix this paragraph that had so many run-on sentences. So, students, remember all of the rules that we talked about during the course of these lessons. Remember to reread your work very, very carefully. Remember to avoid run-on sentences and try these fixes. Add a full stop, add a coordinating conjunction, or add a subordinating conjunction. I think that you will do very well. Thank you so much for listening.